Semrau's here, the author of The Taliban Don't Wave. There are so many stories that you could share with us this morning. We only have 5 minutes. I could do 5 hours with you, I think, to just...
Thank you.
I've read not all of your book, but I've read some of it, and it's like you're painting pictures. It scares me a little because it feels like I've been there with you.
That's perfect. That's really kind of you to say, because that's what I was hoping to achieve.
But it's in a scary way. This isn't an Xbox game.
No, and you know, it's what we were talking about before we came on the air. It's that's why I wrote it. I get frustrated, you know, returning back home to Canada, and everybody thinking, you know, it's just a big game over there. You're shot and you're killed and you're not responding, right? You know, this isn't Halo. No. This is real. This is life and death. And when I wrote the book, I didn't have to make anything up, if you know what I mean, Jody. It's
there's no embellishment here.
There didn't need to be. It was that crazy that no exaggeration was needed.
If I may, personal story-ish, I have a very good friend of mine who has 4 kids, one of whom is very motivated to go and fight for his country, which is honorable and admirable, and we want to support our troops.
That's right.
However, we also want to paint a clear picture that this is not a movie.
Right. Then this is the book for that guy.
What's it like there? What was it? Can you encapsulate just even
that's difficult, but you know, imagine, you know, there's a great, you know, example out of the story where I say, imagine putting on anywhere from 92, like my own personal equipment weighed 92 pounds, anywhere from 90 pounds to 120 pounds. My equipment was light compared to some of the other guys, the guys with the light machine guns who had to carry the extra ammo. You know, so 100 pounds plus 50-degree heat, constant dust that gets in your eyes, your ears, your teeth. You're constantly grinding, you know, in everything. And then on top of those incredible, you know, physical conditions that are grinding you down daily, you have an incredibly cunning and devious enemy who's working his hardest to kill you, right? And not just to kill you, he wants to maim you, right? He wants to hurt you terribly. So on top of all of the physical stuff, you have the daily wear and tear of, you know, the mental stress that just beats you down. And, you know, we were talking earlier and I was saying, you know, morale is a real intangible thing over there. It's something that you have to guard very carefully, because I'd seen it before. I was a paratrooper in the British Army. I'd seen soldiers who had shot themselves through the webbing of their hand in order to get themselves off of the tour, because, you know, what I call the fear, right, had just gripped them, had gotten a hold of them. And once that fear gets a hold of you, you're done, right?
And you've witnessed things, you know, post-traumatic stress disorder and those types of things that come into play upon end of a tour. How do you even compartmentalize that when you come back into what we have here in Canadian society?
I don't have PTSD.
You don't, no, but you've seen, that was my point, is you've seen people who are dealing with it.
When I was back home, Jody, in Canada, waiting for my murder trial to begin, as an officer, I had an open door policy for the men. And I said, you want to talk? Come on in. And I had a steady stream of guys, sometimes from 7 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon, many times soldiers I'd never even met. And they said, sir, I heard you helped this guy. Can you please help me? And sadly, we only had one psychologist for almost 8,000 troops at CFB Petawawa. And how could one psychologist possibly keep up with the demand? Many of these soldiers had been to Afghanistan 5, 6, 7 times. So the Canadian government has put in place a really good system of, you know, decompression, where the troops will go to Cyprus, they'll stay at a hotel, but they have counseling.
Good.
They're talked to, you know, they're encouraged to talk. And, you know, no soldier, well, very few soldiers in that time and place are going to, you know, come forward and talk to a social worker, but it's not the point. It's giving the guys and the girls a place to decompress, to relax, you know, to have a few drinks, swim in the ocean, and start to get some of that off.
A little bit of normalcy.
Yeah.
What can we do here to support our troops better there?
We can put pressure on the government to put more money back into the forces. You know, I think in my own time, you know, talking about one psychologist and a team of social workers, I think some of them have now been cut. So in my time in 2009, the demand was overwhelming. So let's not kid ourselves into thinking it's gotten any better. And a lot of compassion, a lot of understanding, right, for what soldiers are going through. I mean, don't think that every single guy or girl who comes back is unwell.
No.
But sadly, many are. And
But they've had an experience that we can't even imagine.
And that's why I've written the book.
And that's what's in this book. The Taliban don't wave. If you're considering going and fighting for your country, read it. If you're a parent who's concerned that your child wants to do that very admirable thing, read it. It is compelling, to say the least. Thank you so much for being here. We very much appreciate it.